like your jacket, Xavier.
Thank you.
It's nice.
It's vintage.
Mine too. You know what's in mine?
What's in your pocket today, Luce?
You'll never guess.
A piece of gum.
No. So I found something in my pocket earlier. I'm like, what the hell is this? Literally, Parmesan grated cheese.
You're just walking around with cheese packets in your pocket.
I'm like, what the heck? It's in there. I'll save it for later.
Mm-hmm.
So how's your day?
My day's good. I had work and I finished the vlog today, editing all that.
Nice.
And I woke up early today actually, but so that meant I woke up like at 10 a.m. today. So that's early for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
we
no,
go to bed real late.
I go to bed like at 5 is pretty normal for me.
Mm-hmm.
6 is pushing it. But yeah. So last night I went to bed like at 1:30. I woke up at 10 and good. I felt pretty productive. I got a couple things done before I went to work, so I felt good about that. But how was your day, Luce?
My day was good. Rona. No, well, part of my neck hurts. I don't know why. I think I slept wrong. I've been sleeping wrong these past days, and I told Janet to be the nice sister and massage it, and she's like, no.
She has told you, get out me swamp.
She just said that. She's like, get out me swamp. You're crazy. But no, it's been good. I did have a crazy dream though.
Ooh, tell me about your dream.
So, where do I begin? Let's see. It started with this TikTok. So basically, I had a dream that there was these two girls who made a TikTok. And this TikTok was exposing their plot and what happened. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is that, so there's two girls in this TikTok. One of them used to be with this Asian guy. And this guy ended up cheating on her and breaking up with her. And so what this girl did to get back at him was go in cahoots with one of her friends and convince her to, hey, let's team up and get back at him. So they basically made him fall in love with her. And the girl number 2 basically, had him wrapped around her finger, and he gave her the world, and she did what he did to the girl number 1. So basically she cheated on him too and broke up with him, and they made it into a TikTok that like they were both in cahoots and plotted against him. That's an odd one. But yeah, that's basically how my day's been going. So I've been trying to wrap my mind around these crazy dreams that I've been having, and I don't know. I tend to forget them right away when I have them. I don't know about you.
No, I do too. My dream will be like super vivid and complex and all these things, and then like as soon as I wake up, it'll be like if I don't write it down or something, or if I don't like talk about it, I'll like wake up and in 2 seconds I don't remember what happened.
I've been recording myself lately. I've been recording the dream I've had, and I'll say it half asleep. I'll be like, and then I'll play it back, later in the day when I'm recouped and stuff, and I'm like, what the heck did I record? It makes no sense. But no, that's pretty much my day. I'm trying to think what else happened. Went to Walmart with Janet. That's about it.
That's nice.
My brother wants to quit his job already.
It's because his feet hurt.
Yeah, they're giving him too many hours.
That he really should quit. Then that's like that they're pretty much abusing him at that point.
Right? No, that's first world problems for you people. They're giving me too many hours.
There are people who don't have jobs right now.
Right?
Like, be lucky that you got too many hours, man. Like, you use the extra money, you know?
That's right. No, you know what else happened today? So I got a little alert on my Instagram, and it basically was just like, oh, look at flashback for 5 years, and I'm like, it's been that long? Like,
it has been that long.
And I look at the picture, and it's me graduating, and I'm like, whoa, that it's been 5 years. Time flies.
It does. Time does go by really quickly. Like, I'll get those notifications too, like, oh, here's a memory about something, and it'll be like, remember when you said this 11 years ago? I'm like, 11 years ago? And I feel like I can remember vividly writing that, or like, it's like that long. Like, heck.
Does it sound cringe?
Yes. Some of it is like, I'll get those alerts where it's like, remember when you did that? Because I got my Facebook when I was a freshman. I was either 14 or 15 at the time, but I remember I was a freshman for sure. And then when I do get those alerts back, like, oh, hey, remember this status you posted or something? And I'm like, they are really cringe.
I think I've only posted maybe one, and then I totally took it down, but it was back when LMS was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Like my status.
Those, I was totally addicted to those things. Or I always liked liking other people's. I wonder what they'll say.
Yeah.
I don't even remember them anymore. But those are some things that do pop in my memories. It's like it was like this status for one of the first memories we have of each other or something, and I'll be like, and like 2 people liked it.
Say mine was like LMS if you like basketball.
Do you even watch basketball?
No. Currently no, but at the time, this was like maybe 2009. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of basketball, but other than that no. Nope. I am so out of touch with that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, I want maybe like a year or 2 ago, I did like a deep dive through my whole Facebook, and I did look at all like the like all the old posts I had, and I was like, it was just cringy. I remember when I had like 2 friends on Facebook, and I would write really weird statuses like that doesn't mean anything. You're like, also, Facebook was different back then. It was really different back then. You know, this was like 2009 when I first had a Facebook, so that's like a long time,
Right.
a long time ago. And it was just, the whole thing was just different. I think it was like, if, like you've always had like your news feed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything. But like, I think back then it was like, if you had like a lot of comments on a status or like a like, it went up to like the top. And like people, like all your friends could like see it and stuff. Like if you had common friends, like, oh, hey, this guy's like the number one, like trending in your little Facebook friends. I think that's how it was back then, because I remember people complaining, like, this person just doing this to get like the top status right now. I'm like, what's that mean anymore?
It's funny. And this is when I probably got one when I was like a freshman in high school, and it was my birthday, and then I seen just a lot of people, I guess, writing, like putting a message on Facebook to you. I think it has to, like, writing on your wall or something like that. And they'd be like, happy birthday, this and that. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Look it. I did not know like it was proper etiquette to like it, to write back to it, to comment on it. I just assumed, oh, they're doing it out of just like it. They just only like me. What?
They just like me that much. I don't. Why do I have to reply? I'm doing them the favor, them even to acknowledge that it's my birthday.
I'm like, oh, I was so naive about that. Like, I didn't even know. Oh, you like it. You write back to it. You say thank you, Luz. No, I just was just like, oh, that's nice. Look at all these people writing on it. But yeah.
And you know what was the thing? It was like...
Never heard from them since.
Exactly. And then there's always those people who like, they'll leave like generic comments like, thank you so much. But then you'll scroll down and they're like, oh, thank you. Remember the party last night and all that stuff? I was like, where was my invite? Where was my special comment? I told you happy birthday, damn it. Where's my thing?
Right? Like very, very generic, like you said. Funny thing, recently, something like that's happened to me too. So I basically, a friend had posted something and I think I commented on it, and this person was commenting back at everyone else who had said thank you to her or him. I just gave it out to her. But
Oops.
yeah, they were saying thank yous and stuff, and then I realized my thank you was a totally copy and paste comment that she's had like from other comments. Like, she couldn't even put a different emoji or like, you know,
just nothing.
Take out at least one exclamation point. Like, no, it was literally like copy paste.
Like, all right. All right. Yeah, just run through the list.
And then everyone else has had like different ones. No, but just little funny things. And have you ever updated your Facebook in a relationship status?
No, I'm still waiting for that part.
No, you've never made it Facebook official?
No, not yet. I don't want people to know my business. No, I don't care about that. Like, I mean, if I was in a relationship, I'd put it. I don't care. Yeah. I'm not Facebook official yet.
How about exclusivity with relationships? What do you think about that? Do you think it should be, I guess, exploited on the web, hidden? What do you think? Preference of the couple? What do you think?
I mean, everyone's entitled to their own to their own sense of privacy. And I talked about this last week on the podcast too, where I quoted Joan Rivers, and I had said, you know, the only two people that knows what goes on in a relationship are the two people that are in it. And so they can define the rules and stuff, and they can, you know, do what makes it work for them. But like when it comes to like, I almost think sometimes people are way too private to it. Like almost like they could be like one day you could walk up to them and be like, oh, hey, like, who's this guy? I was like, oh, that's my boyfriend. We've been together for 2 years. I'm like, you've been dating someone for 2 years? How have I not heard about this? Like, I think when, and we've known people who've done stuff like that, and I think
you had a kid.
Where'd this come from? I think at that level, I think it's almost,
it's a boy.
Like, I think it's almost too ridiculous when you're like that private and there's zero pictures exist of you guys, and there's no status or like or even seeing you like even like to your like friends, if you have like a friend group and not even say anything like that, like, oh yeah, like 8 months down the line or something, and you're like, oh yeah, I've been dating someone for a year. What? I think to that point it's ridiculous. Like, I get maybe not wanting to say too much and like, oh, I don't want to give every detail about our private life. That's fine. But I just think it's like, oh no, we're not going to post this, or not about our set. You're not like a famous couple or anything. You're not that, no one's that special. Even like celebrities aren't even that special. It's just like, I just think like the whole uber private stuff I think that's just too ridiculous. What do you think, Luz?
No, I'm all about the couple who are deleting and posting pictures of each other every other day. I love it. I live for that. I live for that.
That's the realty.
They're just like blocking each other and then, snooping on each other's, making fake accounts and like hopping on their site and their profile and just seeing what's up and who they're dancing with at the club. And I'm all about that.
Mm-hmm. Or, it's like a weird thing for me. I get it, like, it's such a social norm. And because you mentioned it, like, oh, they're, like, reposting but then deleting pictures and stuff. It's like, when you can always tell when something's gone bad when suddenly all the pictures have disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but you like, they don't even tell your friends or something. And I've seen multiple people, like friends and stuff I know, who do this, where they're like, oh, they're always posting about being in their relationship and so happy and all this stuff. And then you kind of notice it gets really quiet all of a sudden, and there's not really any more posts. And then it's like, you know what? I have a weird, and like, maybe I'll go check their Instagram because like, oh, I like the post they put one time for something. And then I'll look, and then, wait a minute, everything's just gone,
Like their existence is just poof out of thin air.
Yeah, and for me, this is probably going to be triggering for a lot of people, but I don't think I would go and like delete all the pictures of an ex. Like if I posted them on Instagram and stuff, I think I would still keep them there. And I mean, I think if I broke up with someone, I would just start filling my Instagram with different pictures and putting more stuff in, but I wouldn't delete them. And my reasoning behind it is because it's like, well, that was time I spent with someone, and they're a part of my existence for a year or whatever. It's like it happened. It didn't not happen,
Right.
And I get some people just like they just want to forget it. They don't want to think about it, but it's like, it's not how it works. I'm not saying I want to keep them like to dwell on them or look back on them.
Almost like growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you save them there to see it, to have them there to be like, hey, I can look back at this and I grew from that, I know someone close to me who, for the majority of the pictures, had taken them down of their SO, and I think they kept maybe one or two up there, but it's just because of the picture itself. It was a nice picture. I'm not gonna delete it just because it's a good picture, so they kept it there. But I can also see how keeping it up could be painful for the other person, or somehow trigger them too. Like maybe send out some real triggering thoughts and memories, that they've had of the SO.
Yeah. And I think you can also look back and like, I don't think you have to look at all of it, because you might have had a good moment. I mean, if it was like a really, like, I'm not saying if it was like an abusive relationship or something, I'm saying you probably you can go ahead. It's cool. Delete those pictures. But I'm saying if it was just like a breakup and not like if it wasn't too crazy, I think,
That's true too.
Yeah.
Like grow. Like I like the thought of that, keeping it in your timeline. It was part of me. We know someone who who has kept those and of their SO, and
we don't even get into that.
But no, yeah, I like that. I really do. It's part of you. It's part of your journey.
And you can look back on like solid moments you have, because a breakup don't let it invalidate those good memories that you did have. Even though the relationship doesn't work out, I think you can find, in time, some appreciation for people and stuff. And like, hey, you know what? I got to go visit this new city when I was with you, and I probably wouldn't have done that on my own. So, I can acknowledge those good little moments and stuff. But I do like to look back, and you think of it as growth, as development, and you see those things. like there's certain pictures like on my Instagram. I don't know, even relationships of friends and stuff. Where I'm like, that's interesting to look back and see. But I'm like, I don't get rid of it because it happened. It was, those friendships or relationships, whatever. Like it was there, and it was all about the growth and learning experience of it.
No, I'm all about those profile pictures who delete all of them but one, and then tag themselves and everything, and I'm all about those. No, it's funny that you say that because that made me think about this was a few months back, I believe. I think it was Mark Anthony. He posted like a picture with Jennifer Lopez and their kids. And fact check me, but I think Mark Anthony has kids with someone else. And like smaller kids than the twins he has with J-Lo.
I think so. I think he did have like a kid or two like after J-Lo.
Okay, so he was posing with J-Lo and the kids, the twins, and he was receiving a lot of backlash, and it's like, how come you don't pose with your kids that you have right now? You're just posing with these kids because of status and celebrity affairs and stuff, and so he was receiving a lot of backlash from like not posting with his immediate kids, well, the younger kid he had now versus like the twins he has with J-Lo and stuff. And it's like, you can't win. You really can't win.
Yeah, I think that's good. Funny, I remember watching an interview with them, and like they really are good at co-parenting and stuff, and I just think that's all it is. Some people are just so crazy about nah, something's going on. No, but just it's always a weird game about like posting the pictures, deleting them, putting the cryptic tweet or something, but then maybe post another picture with them. It gets back together, but then they're all gone again. It's a whole weird thing. I mean, everyone has their own like right to do how they want to do, but I think sometimes it does get ridiculous at the amount of back and forth there is with all that stuff.
Back to the timeline. Did you ever wish you could grow up faster? Like there was this magic pill that just like overnight you're 18. Bam.
I don't know. I think the only time I would think that was because it's like, well, I want it to be my birthday already. I would want a present.
Oh, yeah.
Because when it would be my birthday, it'd be like, all right, that's like a big gift. But
memorable gift.
My most memorable gift, I think. I think when I was 15, I really wanted the new iPod Nano that came out. If you guys remember those back home, the one I was talking about they were like
the colorful ones?
The colorful one. They were candy bar shaped and they could play video. And they came in a bunch of colors. I really wanted the purple one. I thought it looked so good, and I really wanted one. And then my mom, she did let me and my brother get each one of us for our birthday, and I'm like, yes. And I loved it so much. But it broke. I think I only had it maybe like 6 months, and I remember I was outside after school. I think I was waiting to get picked up, and I think I kind of tripped, and it just like slipped out of my hand, and I picked it up, and nothing was cracked or anything. I think it got a little scratched, but like the screen was just white, like it didn't show anything and I tried to send it to someone to fix it, but nothing happened, and just like it just never got to work right again. And I still have it. It's somewhere in this house in some drawer somewhere, but I'll spot it every once in a while. I'll just look back at it with nostalgia. I'm like, man, I love that thing.
I used to always want like technology. My mom was very not, I wouldn't say against is the right word, but she didn't think it was a good investment to buy things that are new, better, and more techier if advancements in technology were going to surpass that in the future.
Yeah, like, oh, they're just gonna put another one out in a year.
In
Why
a
buy
year.
it now?
Right, because now we have the iPhone, Apple Watch and stuff. Like, we would never think back in those days, like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna come out eventually, so wait, don't sacrifice the now for something better in the later. Like, that didn't exist. We don't think that when we're younger. But yeah, like Nintendos, Game Boys and stuff, like that was no talk. I think we still have a PS2. We don't have any higher game console than that. I mean, my brother's looking to get a Switch, but now that he's quitting, I don't know if he's gonna get it.
Well, how are you gonna pay for that?
No, but yeah, like, and I remember these vivid dreams where it's like I have this smartphone in my hand, or I have this iPod in my hand, and I wake up and it's gone.
God. I have so much to unpack with that. But no, I was always quite the opposite. I mean, I grew up fairly poor too, but like I did manage to get like a game console. Like I remember I had the Nintendo 64, and then I got the GameCube when it came out, and then I did have I had like everything. I had a PS2. I had a PS3. I have the PS4.
And you came out fine, Mom. You see?
Yeah, I had the Wii. I had the Wii U. I have the Switch. I had every Game Boy. I'm not kidding. I had every Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SP, Nintendo DS. I had everything. I'm not kidding you. I bought it all. And I went through a couple DSs too. I broke them.
I vaguely remember. I think this was our trip to like SeaWorld in 5th grade. Like that was our big trip. A few girls had the DSs, and I think there was a way you can chat with each other with them.
Yeah, it was called PictoChat.
Oh yeah, I remember just like Picto chatting and don't show the teacher. But go on.
Oh, but but about dreaming about technology, there's this one thing I always wanted, but I never had it. And I'm telling you, I would dream about it. Like, I would suddenly, like, it would be in my hands and I could maneuver it. And I was so excited for, like, oh, it's real, it's here. And then my eyes would open. And I would, like, feel around my bed, like, maybe it's right here. Maybe it's real. And it wasn't. And the thing I would always dream about was having an iPad.
Ooh.
Because, the funny thing, when they first came out, I thought it was, like, kind of dumb. I was like, it's just like a giant iPod Touch. I don't know what you would do with it. But then I kind of saw, like, the potential in it. I just thought it looked cool. Like, it was, like, cool and stuff. And I would dream about it forever, never. And then it wasn't until I would always try to find some way to get one of my parents to maybe buy it. And it's like, no luck ever. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't until I think I was 19. I had a little bit of money. And I went to the store and I bought one. Ooh. And I came back and I was like,
Circuit City?
No.
Remember when that was a thing?
City. It was. Do you remember where it was at? Because
it was like where Planet Fitness used to be.
Exactly. I do remember. I remember when it closed down too. But I remember we would go back and forth, like, oh, we'll go look at Circuit City. Oh, let's go look at Best Buy. Mm-hmm. And just, R.I.P. Circuit City. Mm-hmm. Oh, but oh yeah. So I bought the iPad when I was 19, and then I had buyer's remorse. Like, I spent $500 on this thing. It's too much money.
Heck.
And I'm like, I took it back. I took it back after like 5 days, and they gave me all my cash back. And then, because I thought I might have to use the money for something else. Who knows what comes up? And then a couple weeks passed, like, nah, it was fine. I could have kept the thing. I was mad.
$500. Oh gosh.
But then finally,
Back in the day.
back in the day, but it's even costs even more now. But anyway, I finally did get an iPad because I bought a laptop and it broke, and they said we don't have that laptop anymore, so we're just gonna give you the credit for it. And I was like, oh. So I'm like, you know what? I'll buy it. So I ended up switching. Instead of picking another laptop, I got the iPad instead. But that finally busted down. Then now I have the iPad Pro, and that thing's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. You finessed it.
I finessed it, Janet.
No, I on the subject of memorable gifts, my memorable gift, you ready to hear this?
Mm-hmm.
Was a back scratcher.
What?
Yeah. So this is how I knew kind of Christmas was over, guys. Basically, I woke up one Christmas Day morning, and for us, like, our little tradition for Christmas is to all gather in the big living room and sleep in front of the tree, and that's where we camp out in the night, and then wake up and boom, presents. Well, we wake up and literally there was a lotto ticket, 3 scratch lotto tickets for each one of us, me and my siblings, and $60. And basically that was it. And the following year was the back scratcher one, where it was like, we each got a back scratcher, and it said "Be good" in Sharpie.
Clean your room.
Clean your room. That's literally what it said. I'm not kidding. And it was kind of like a metaphor for life, like here, like, do things on your own, like scratch your own back. Don't expect people to have it for you, you know?
Because we're not spending any more money on you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, grow up, like, boom, overnight.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yep. But yeah, my mom's quirky gifts and stuff. And you know what's funny?
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to, I've been listening. So ever since you told me, I've been listening to Howard Stern more. And little clips from him.
Uh-huh.
And he was interviewing, in this clip that I was watching, he was interviewing Mila Kunis. And if you guys don't know, she is Russian. She came from Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ukraine, to be specific, I think.
we're going to fact check that.
We'll fact check that.
And she came from Russia. And basically her parents, like, foreign to the country. She didn't know a lick of English coming in here, and then she obviously ended up learning and stuff, and kind of even like forming, like, being like a translator for her parents in the beginning, you know. And her parents were hard workers. Even to this day, she says that they don't that it's really hard to give them anything because they will not accept it. They're very, very humbling and kind of a little bit prideful in that way, that they're like, no, like, we work for our stuff, you know. And she was talking to Howard about basically, like, he had asked her, have you ever been, you know, ashamed or embarrassed of your parents? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, plenty of times, Howard.
I tell you, this time.
Yeah.
Just pick a day.
Luz, he's not asking you, he's asking me. Oh, okay, yeah, go on, Mila. No, but Mila was like, oh yeah, tons, you know, like, I remember I would sit in my elementary school and I was wearing a uniform because she came from obviously Russia, where they're communists and they are all tidied up. They had to wear uniforms in class. And, you know, she came to the States, and the school she went to was public, and, you know, they weren't wearing uniforms anymore, but she was still wearing the uniform today, you know, going into the class and stuff. And it's funny because the same thing happened to me when I first moved from Salinas to Yuma.
Oh, no.
So I was in kinder, and I had gone to 2 elementary schools prior to in California. And the last elementary school I had gone to, we were required to wear uniforms. It was like a white, the colors were white and green, like a forest green. And I clearly remember like a white polo, some green pants, and some black dress shoes. And I remember in my closet, we had like a section of kind of regular clothes, but then also uniform clothes. And I just remember like for a good week or two, we were wearing that uniform right here in my elementary school in Yuma, Arizona, where it's just clearly public, not private. And,
No.
and you know, yep. And we would wear it. And I almost was asking, like, why do we have to wear it? You know, my mom's like, you know, I spent money on this. And then I clearly remember this. At one point, my mom was forcing shoes in Janet's feet, like, because they didn't fit her. Like, Janet was going through a big time growth spurt. And she's like, Mom, they don't fit. She's like, yeah, they do. I'm going to make them fit.
I spent too much money on them.
Janet's like crying, they don't fit. My mom gets a metal spoon and she's like forcing them in her foot and everything. And she goes on her way to school like that. And I think that was like the last day she had forced us to wear it. But then after that, I never saw those uniforms again. But yeah, I just remember those little quirky things that our parents do. It's just like, oh, why? Maybe it's to have stories like this. I don't know. Or to torture us. I don't know.
Who knows? I don't think it'll make sense until we're dead. I'm like, that's why. and just go straight to heaven. No, I hated uniforms. I did not like them. I mean, now it's so prevalent, almost like all, at least elementary schools and a lot of high schools now too. They all do uniforms, but my entire school career, except for like a minute in like middle school, it was all just like regular clothes. I remember in the 8th grade. No, there was a minute when I lived in Texas. I had to wear a school uniform. I only lived there for like 3 months, and I had to wear a school uniform, and I hated it. I would get home and I would just throw it off, and I would just put regular clothes on. I was like, I don't want to conform. I'm not gonna dress how they want me to dress. I hated it. I also don't like them. I just don't like them. But then
something constricting about that. Like,
yeah, and I moved, but then I moved back into town, and in my 8th grade, they did this it wasn't uniforms, but they started trying to enforce the rule: you guys need to tuck in your shirts, and we're like, what? Oh. They're like, tuck in your shirts, and I'm like, this outfit does not look good tucked in.
I think they were tired of seeing crack. I honestly think that.
Well, too bad.
Yeah. You should have said, you should have stuck it to them. Been like, sorry, I is who I is.
Or the thing we would get away with is like, if you were wearing a jacket, then they couldn't tell, obviously. You know, but then sometimes they put your hands up and you would, and then your jacket would lift up. It's like, your shirt's not tucked in, tuck it in. I'm like, you asshole. But then the thing is, though, as soon as after that, we all went to high school, and then they enforced uniforms to my middle school. And I remember one of my friends was a year below me, so he was still when I was in 9th grade, he was in 8th. And then when he got to high school, he was like, yeah, he's like, they really enforced it when the previous 8th graders just didn't listen. Oh. And it was like, so it was our fault. I'm okay with that. But yeah, that was the only time I ever had to wear a uniform, was in the 7th grade for 3 months.
Dang. No, mine was just that time I moved back from Yuma. But no, yeah, like, parents will be parents.
Yeah, parents are crazy. Other people's parents kind of weird me out, though. I'm not going to lie about that.
Really?
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just like, I've always been kind of very much like, not I've always been rebellious, but like I've always had like a lot of freedoms and stuff, and I never grew up in a severely strict household or anything like that. And so it's like I feel like when I go to someone's house, it's like traveling to a foreign country, because it's like you don't know how like the whole like room reads. You don't know like what their rules are or how they want you to act. They're like, oh, make sure you wash your hands before you sit down or something, or like oh, please don't curse,
right?
Or oh, we don't watch TV right now, or weird things like that. Not that that's weird or whatever. It's kind of weird, but or it's just that they were particular, like I went to one friend's house one time, and they're like, make sure you say hi to my dad right now. I'm like, what? Oh, hi. And it was just like, it was. And
like you had to acknowledge him.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we weren't even going that way. You made me had to go out the way to go say hi to him in the other room. And then we went to go hang out or whatever. And it's like, well, maybe that sounds like disrespectful on my part or something. But it's just like, I don't know. I think sometimes parents are just weird.
No, I can totally relate to you about the whole parent thing. Yeah, I've had my fair share of like, parents about kind of feeling weird about them, or even my friends acting very asshole-ish to them, in front of me. I'm like, that's how you treat your parents?
Yeah. I'm laughing because I've seen that.
I'm like, my mom would knock my teeth out by now. I don't know how you're alive.
Sometimes it's like jarring. Like their parents will be like super nice, and it's like they're like, "Hurry up, bitch." I'm like, we're just sitting there hanging out watching TV.
I know.
What do you mean?
No, and I have some other experiences about kind of like greeting people and stuff. Like, I'll be honest, I hate it. I am that one person in the party. I come from a Hispanic family, and they expect you to greet the whole world. I mean the whole world. People who talk crap about you, that aunt who just called you fat when you were turned around, like asking if you're married yet, if you have a boyfriend, how much fatter you got this year, like all that. Like, they want you to say hi to them and like kiss them in the cheek like nothing ever happened. Like if you guys were old pals, Yeah, like strolling at Costco or something. I don't know. They just want you to put up this front and just greet everyone with pride and joy, and it's so ridiculous. And I'll tell you who does that. My sister, she loves to greet the whole world. Bless her heart. I see fakeness. But yeah, I cannot stand that. My sister, she has the utmost gracious heart for doing that, and being the life of the party, but I can't stand that. I cannot.
I can't either. No, it's just that's why I like hanging out when like there's like an absence of parents, or like when you do have to go like those family functions where you have to go say hi, and you have this say hi to your tia who's been saying you getting fat. Or stares at you. Yeah, staring at you when you get another plate.
Oh yeah, that uncle that just looks at you up and down. How much weight did you gain this year? You should be eating salads, not chicken.
But yeah, some people's parents are really cool. Or the other thing too is it's like you see people's like attitudes flip with their parents so much. Like, I appreciate consistency. Like the same person I'm talking to is the same person I'm going to see with your parents. I like that, but there's some people who are just like a whole different mode, and like a switch flips in their head, and they're almost like just a whole different person, and it makes me uncomfortable because I've had to be in those situations where like you almost have to tiptoe around and like, don't say this, but sit here. But make sure you compliment on the food. Don't get too many drinks, but do get a drink so they notice. You know, that so they put the hard work in. Like, hey, they cooked the food for you. I'm just like, why did I come over here?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm here. Let's go hang out, you know, like in a field or in a parking lot or
No,
something.
yeah. I've had my fair share of that too. They're like, nah, your sister's being like this in front of my parents. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I gotta look over that video before you post it. No, yeah. I mean, for my mom, well, my parents, I can. Funny thing, I really don't know my parents, but yeah, I feel like, why is it that they keep things from us when we grow up?
I don't know.
Maybe it's just my parents.
No. Do you mean in terms of like they just like they never like revealed certain things to you like at a young age, and then you kind of find about it like when you're like, oh, I'm 18. Oh, this happened.
Kind of. I would think like, okay, this person has already gone through life with, you know, and they have some insight. They have some stories to tell you. They have X, Y, and Z to say, and you're there, you're living it out, and they're just like, cricket. Nope, can't relate. That must be tough, you know? I mean, is it because they just don't want to relive that hardship that they've gone through, you know, growing up? Or what is it about reliving something that they don't want to share?
I think it probably could be maybe they feel like a sense of shame because like maybe something you're going through, they like it triggers them to remember, oh, I remember when I went through that in high school. Oh, I didn't have a pleasant experience. I don't want to live through that vicariously again through my child. I'm just going to try to ignore it till they pass through it. And which is unfortunate because like, you know, it's like, hey, you're my parent. I'm a kid. I'm trying to figure this out right now. I'm looking up to you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean you're not going to help me? What do you mean you don't know?
You've never been to prom? What?
How do you file your taxes? Why are you asking me that? You're the parent. It's things like that where it's like like prom or, you know, filling out a college application or something. Like there are things it's like, or like, hey, how do I, or like making like a doctor's appointment.
Like scheduling one?
Yeah, when you got to start doing those on your own. Who do I call?
Mm-hmm.
What's insurance?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I get you. Just like the willingness to...
High school didn't teach us that.
Exactly. But just like that weird thing that parents do sometimes where it's like this lack of willingness on their part to want to like help you out or give you insight. And not even because like... I would get it if it was an excuse of like, you know, I don't know. But it's like, no, you do know this. I don't know why you're holding something back from me. Do you want to like watch me struggle? Is that it? Because you struggled or something?
Mm-hmm. Like you have to earn it?
You think like, oh, you're my child. I want to see you flourish a little bit more. Let me help you through some of the pitfalls and avoid those. But yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't try to, you know, tell you about this or show you this or something.
Mm-hmm. Funny thing, I was listening to another podcast earlier today. It was a Joe Rogan podcast, one of my favorite podcasts, and he was with Kevin Hart again, and he was talking about like Kevin Hart is such a positive guy. Like if you listen to him, he's a really positive guy, putting out goodness and just saying like X, Y, and Z, like you can do this and achieve this, like always think ahead. Like he went through a really bad car accident where he fractured his spine and he's got like nuts and bolts in it, and they literally told him, they're like, you know, if you weren't in such good shape going into the accident, like you could have been in a wheelchair by now. And he always said that, like he's always gotten, well, Kev, like what are you training for, you know, are you training for what are you training for? And he's like, just be better every day. Like it's just like to get ahead of the game, one step ahead of the game, because you never know. And who would have known like him preparing his body eventually for an accident, you know, would have saved his life, and that's essentially what happened. And he was saying how like he's always trying to get a step ahead of the game, or always trying to win himself. Life is a game, and he's always trying to only beat himself. Like he's his only competitor, and he's a very positive guy, and he's helping the Black community a lot. He was talking about how he has investments with JP Morgan Chase, and they like improving basically financial literacy in the Black communities, which is like gold. Like if someone were to teach me about taxes, or wiping my ass, or cutting my hair, or how to pump gas, like if someone were to teach me those things, I in high school, or even in elementary school, like I'd be one step ahead of the game, and he's literally putting that out there. He's saying, I'm trying to teach the people, or like about life and how to get ahead of the game and stuff. He's like, I'm not saying I know everything, I am the king of the crop, I look at how much money I've got. It's like, no, don't choose door number 1 and door number 2, because I've already gone through those, and that's not what you want to do. You want to go through door number 3 for sure. Learn from me. That's what he's basically saying and putting out there. But yeah, I just thought his insight and how he was relating it to helping his community was really insightful. And it almost goes back to that, like I would think a parent should tell you, no, don't go through door number 1, door number 2, and choose door number 3. And I think they do that, and we just don't listen. We're just really bad at nah, shut up, Mom. You don't know everything.
Exactly. And I think that's also sometimes just, especially when you're a teenager, I think that's the thing. It's like, you see it all the time in like TV shows where like sometimes it's that scenario where the parent gives the advice, and it's like, don't go to the crazy party. I've been to the crazy parties. It's not going to turn out well. And like, fuck you, Mom and Dad. I'm going to go. And then what happens? You end up in jail. And it's like, I almost feel it's a sense of teenage rebellion, because you want to make mistakes and learn on your own accord and stuff like that. And I get that. And I wouldn't want anyone to feel robbed of an experience. But sometimes, if someone tells you don't do crystal meth, you don't have to try crystal meth to know it's bad. just take the word.
But I want to pave my own way, Xavier.
You know what? I was wrong. I'm not going to tell you what to do, Luce. It's your freedom.
No. Go on.
No.
I was saying that when Kevin Hart was talking about it, he was basically saying that, like, yeah, like, don't go through door number 1, door number 2, choose door number 3, because I've already done through my failures. I've already learned and stuff, and I've learned the hard way. And he was also talking about kind of like this reverence for information. Like, I'm not going to tell you this information because like it's secret information. It's like, I'm like, what is it about this information that like, is secret? I don't get it. Is it because like I haven't earned it yet? It's like you have these tips at your finger, like, you have these tips right in front of you, and you just don't want to share them. Like, you just want to see people, struggle or hassle. It almost makes me think like, it'd be easier if you carry this bag, this way with your other shoulder and it wrapped around, your waist and stuff, versus the way you're doing it right now. Like someone just giving you a tip like that. And people are so reluctant to give out information. I don't know if you've experienced that too, but yeah, like just give out like the slightest tips, and it makes, boom, the biggest difference.
I think it comes down to like bitterness.
Like
you know?
jealousy?
Yeah, 'cause it's like, why do you get to know how to do it the easy way the first time? It took me a month to figure out how to do that, and I had to do it on my own. Why do I want to tell you that? Well,
Yeah.
And I don't think that's not the right mentality to have. We should want to try to, I mean, not make everything easy, like, and completely like rob, you know, hard, because life's hard and you have to go through hardships, of course. But I'm saying, if you can have something be more efficient and like help someone in good genuine ways, and if it can be done by just giving a little bit of advice or a tip, I don't see what the problem is. Why like covet the knowledge? Like, what good's it gonna do you?
If you're hoarding it.
Yeah. And what was it? Oh, it's like it's just what pride is. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be the only one who knows how to do this, and it's like, okay, well, you're the only one who knows it. Then what else are you gonna do with it? Just keep it sitting there?
So when shit hits the fan, you're gonna be the only one. And both of your feet are broken, and you're gonna be the only one. All right.
It's ridiculous. I have a question for you, Luce.
Go ahead.
Would you ever want to go back to being a kid?
Oh, yeah. I have this vivid memory. I was probably like, I want to say maybe 8-ish, 9-ish. But I remember looking back at a videotape, VHS tape, and it was of my second birthday at Chuck E. Cheese in Salinas. And it was like, you sing birthday, happy birthday. And it had like Chuck E. Cheese and stuff. And this is back when Chuck E. Cheese's mascot was pretty lit. Like, it was a really decent mascot. And I remember just looking at that video, and you can see how happy I was. I was 2 years old, joy in my face. There was family around. Everyone looked younger, and there was music and, fun and love. And I just remember looking at that video, and I just was really sad. I remember this big, like, it was almost like this knock of wind, just punched me in the gut. And I'm like, why do I feel so sad? And I remember thinking, I'm like, why do we have to grow up? Like, that was my main question at hand. I remember like kind of like going to my parents tearfully and being like, Mom, like, and Dad, like, why do we have to grow up? Why can't I just stay the way I am right now? And they were just like, what?
What?
They were like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, you're going to grow up, all right? Go wash your hands. Dinner's ready. That's literally what they said. And, but I just remember that feeling of like, why do I have to grow up? I clearly looked happy in that picture. Not to say that I'm not happy now, but I clearly was happy then. Like, why do I have to change? Like, I don't want to change. I just want to be me. I want to stay me at what I am right now. And kind of like hit that pause button. And it's funny because I always had this weird thinking of how growing up was going to play out. Because I mean, I had cousins that were older, aunts that were older, and I'm like, how does this aging thing work? Like, no one tells you. When you're small, no one tells you, like, oh yeah, you're going to go to the store and get fitted, and, as you grow up, you get higher in sizes, like, no one tells you that. Just think about that. No one tells you that. It's just something that society has kind of simulated in your brain, Simulation theory. This is all simulation, guys. But no, yeah, like, no one tells you that. And I had this weird thinking that one day, I don't know why, but maybe when I turned 13 or 14, I would just wake up and nothing would fit me. Like, and so I would have to like literally go to the store. Like, I had this mental picture where it's like, I'm going to go to the store in a tank top and sweats. Like, I already knew, like, gray sweats and a white tank top and like some chanclas. And it's like, I grew up, so I'm going to go shopping. Like, that was my thinking. And that was like my rite of passage. Like that's what's like Lucinda has grew up.
You went to the store and some chocolates, and it's like, all right.
Yep. And so that was like gonna be the hallmark. That was gonna be the marker. Like Luce officially grew up. But and then I was like, oh, it doesn't work like that. Oh, you just get fatter. You just get you start growing hair in places. Oh. But no, yeah, no one tells you that. No one does.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, tons of times I want to hit the pause button or rewind button. Tons. And then I go back to my mom, like, Mom, remember when I fit in there? Do you remember that? And I'm like, I didn't have a choice. Like, no one asked me if I wanted to come out. No one asked me.
Did you ask me to be born? No.
I mean, I look back at it now. It's like, okay, Lucy, you're learning shit. You're suffering too. But I mean, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's great. And I think I used to feel that way a lot younger, like hitting a pause button or wanting to go back to being, especially like as like thinking when I was like 17 turning 18 and stuff. It's like I think because I had zero clue how to be an adult. I still do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm doing, but especially just like then I remember it was just so weird because it was just like who knows what's going on, things are getting more complex, school gets harder, that's how you figure out college, figure out the rest of your life. I'm like, how?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like I had any help.
Mm-hmm.
And
that hoarding of information.
Mm-hmm. And I was definitely just like, can we just hit a pause on this? Can I just take a minute to figure out what's going on around me? Because it's really confusing. But I mean, I think now I kind of do. My views kind of flipped a little bit, and I do kind of like being an adult now, just kind of, because I don't know. I think I've really taken a sense to like my autonomy and being like. Because there are so many situations as a kid, like, you're just stuck there. You can't do anything. I think everyone can think back to a moment where it's like this, even as an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, like, this is horrible right now.
This is never going to end.
I may have not lived long enough, but I know this is not a nice moment to be living in, and it feels like it's going on forever. But now, I can walk out the door. Who's going to tell me what to do now? I can... if I don't like a situation, I can leave or I can do this. Or also, I can buy a ton of useless stuff now.
To amuse ourselves.
Uh-huh. Like, it's, I remember being a kid, I'm like, can I have, like, money to go eat at Subway? No, it's too expensive. I eat at Subway every day now.
We order buy one, get one on the app.
Mm-hmm. You hit that link below. But no, it's like I enjoy being an adult because there is a sense of control to it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I have autonomy and I have ownership of myself and I can make my own decisions. I'm not left to to the devices of the people raising me. I have a say in what I want to do. I do look back at things in nostalgia because, like, like we said in the beginning, like, we know it's like how fast things do go by. I'm like, oh, man, wouldn't it be nice to kind of just, enjoy that more? Like, oh, man, if I wish, man, I should have appreciated that trip to SeaWorld in the 5th grade more.
Mm-hmm. No, going back to the whole, like, this is never going to end feeling. Like, I remember just sitting in my chair and always thinking, like, Luce, you're gonna look like this the rest of your life. You're gonna feel like this the rest of your life, and that makes me think, like, a lot of people out there think this is never going to end. This is going to be my life for the rest of my life. When they're in school, like they literally think that. And it's like you can't imagine you being 5 years older, you know, at that moment. Or I remember even guest speakers coming into my classroom and being like, I used to sit in those desks just where you're sitting right now. I'm like, I call bullshit. You don't know what the fuck I'm feeling, fucker. Like,
Wouldn't you fucking sit here?
Wouldn't you fucking sit here? Like, do you know what I've seen? Have you held a baby? No, but yeah, like you just are like, no, you haven't gone through life the way I have. Like, I can't, no, there's no way you've been sitting here in this chair. And then I think back and I'm like, well, Luz, it's been 5 years since you've graduated high school. And now you can think back at the time you sat in that chair and stuff. And I'm like, maybe there is a method to this madness. Who knows? I mean, but I think sharing of information is key to kind of like connecting us and connecting the dots within each other, and, you know, forming community and forming good conversation, and, you know, getting some wisdom out of all this madness.
You're blowing my mind loose. No, it's so true. And I think that's why I love podcasts so much. And I love Howard Stern, because, you know, he'll interview like legends, you know, Stevie Nicks or Bruce Springsteen. Mila Kunis is on there. You know, you know, and they'll be open and honest and let me tell you about the pitfalls and the struggles and everything I've gone through. Or listen to Armchair Expert, and they'll be very raw and open too. And they'll tell me, let me tell you how my life was growing up and what I did and what I learned from it. And I sit there and I'm like, let me take this in, so that when I come up in the situation where I feel or something similar, that I'll know how to maybe gauge it in my head and how to approach it with like the next steps I do. And it's so important just to be able to be like, not even if it's like advice, but like when you hear people's life stories and stuff, you can relate to them and like, okay, you're indirectly giving me advice from this.
Right.
And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of advice right now. Like one of my favorite quotes, I say this quote all the time, like I just love it so much, is that it's a story from Rob McElhenney. If you guys don't know who he is, he's the
very French actor.
He's the creator of the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He plays Mac. And he was on Mark Maron's podcast, and he was telling the story about his life and growing up and everything. And there's this moment where he was a kid in Catholic school, and he was a troublemaker, and he got in trouble one day, and it got a little physical with a kid, and, you know, the teachers pulled him out, and basically everyone was yelling at him, calling, you're a piece of shit, you're worthless, we're going to expel you, what the fuck are you thinking? And just going in on him, right? And then there's this nun, right? Her name's Sister Kate. She's super strict, and he sees her walking to him. He's like, oh no, Sister Kate. And she goes and is like, McElhenney, get into my office. And he just sits there like, what's she gonna say now? She shuts the door and he sits down and he's like, and she just looks at him and says, just remember this. Most people in your life don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
That's right.
No, get out. And when I heard that blew my mind, because it's so true. Like that's a piece of wisdom in a story, because it's like sometimes we're so critical of what someone's commenting or saying and everything, but the truth is they're just as lost as we are, or trying to figure it out as they go. And it's like, if we can all kind of pause and like, hey, we're all trying to figure it out a little bit, like we can get along a little bit better and have a little more sympathy, because like no one knows what they're doing.
I feel like we all get bits and pieces of the story, but we've never all had like the full story, if that makes sense. I was researching simulation theory, and I don't know shit about shit. Let me just say that. Joe Budden. I don't know shit about shit. You know, I've just been, you know, Googling and YouTubing and all that. And so I'm no expert Just putting it out there. But I was researching it, and it was talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson has a good kind of analogy to it about simulation theory. It's basically like, you know how like I've never played Sims, but I mean you could basically make your own world in there, right?
Yeah, basically, it's basically a simulation. Like you have a town, and you can make a family. However many people, shape them all the way, and just they have a job. They do this. It's like basically if they were a person.
Basically there. And what's to say someone in there can't create like their own little sim too? I don't know if that's possible, but basically that's what he was getting at. Like, you know, people can create, if you create someone that has free will, okay, so then they create something in a computer, and that computer, inside that computer, they can create, you know, another something. And basically you have basically all these kind of simulations going out there, or all these possible scenarios, and basically we're all just we come into this world, you know, like crying and stuff. And basically what simulation theory is like, there's a dart, and what's to say that when you hit the target, it's that specific target that's right, you know, because there's so many things out there. Like, for instance, social media, we basically created our own simulation in that, our own world. Think about that. You know, our own world. We're debating whether, like, you know, the First Amendment and stuff. Like, it's crazy to think how we've created our own way of living in there, and our own rules and regulations of governing kind of speech in there. And it's like, what's to say this all isn't one too? That's basically what it is. And that goes back to the whole, like, we don't get the full story. We get bits and pieces. So, I mean, the bits and pieces we do get along the way, like, hey, it's helpful. I mean, like, that can help me in the future. That can help me not to make that mistake by going through door number 1, or, you know, or getting finding an easier path to door number 3. And like I mentioned in the first podcast, you know, are being increases in the measure you give it away. So if you give just that tad bit of information, like, believe it or not, it's going to get returned in, you know, tenfold. Maybe not in this life, but the next. All right, so let me tell you about what so-and-so did today. So she smacked me, right? No. But I think a part of growing up is getting into cat fights and schoolyard fights, and telling the teacher, and being a tattletale. And I think that's part of growing up.
All those little things that happen, or like
petty fights.
Yeah, or like, oh, we're going to exclude you from playing the game at recess today.
Oh, that was a big thing for me. Like, I think this was in 3rd grade. The thing was you had to have a Bratz baby doll. A Bratz baby doll. Not just a Bratz doll. No. A Bratz baby doll. Like, it was this short. You know, its head was bigger than this mic here. Like, it had to be a Bratz baby doll. And I clearly remember everyone in my class, like all the girls basically grouped up in recess, and, like, you know, we're playing and stuff. And they're like, no, Luce, you can't play with us. Like, you need this doll. If you don't have this doll, I'll kiss you on your forehead. Your little girl to me. You don't come around here until you have a Bratz baby doll. And so I remember, I mean, I never begged my mom for anything. Like I told you, you know, advancements in technology, my mom be like, nah, there's going to be something better and bigger, better and greater coming along the way. So don't bother with that. And I just remember I was like, Mom, you don't understand. Like, they've excluded me from chicken cutlet night, from surf and turf night, from ravioli night. Like, I need this Bratz baby doll. And so I begged her, and she's like, all right. So I think we even went to, I want to say it was Kmart, but it might have been Target that we went to. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, Kmart was a store.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Circuit City. No, but so we went to the store and she got me this doll. And literally, I just got one session of Reese's of coolness with this Bratz baby doll. And then it was like out of touch. Like they were just like on to the next thing. Webkins or some shit like that. Like it was just gone. And I literally begged my mom for this Bratz baby doll. And it's like, I begged to have this exclusivity with this Bratz club, this Reese's Catty Girl Club, and now like it's nothing. That's it. That's all I was like raving about. Like it is not that special. Like in the end, it came up to be like nothing. Like, you know, it was almost like I had worked so hard to, you know, get to where I gained acceptance, and then poof, it was gone. Then nothing mattered, you know. They were on to the bigger and better things after that. And I'm like, that put some things in perspective. I should have learned then, but no. That, you know, me even achieving things or me getting things, like me kind of attaining a goal or a standard, a social standard would gain, like I was almost trying to get validation from them in that aspect. And then I should have learned then where it's like that doesn't exist. Like you find validation within yourself, locus of control. You know, you can only control things in this world, so only focus on controlling what things in your circle and you and your attitude towards things. You know, don't look to other things for validation or acceptance. But no, you know, someone could have told me, I could have listened to that bit of information when I was little, you know, but no, we just love to learn the hard way. We just want life to kind of like smack us in the face constantly, and boom, until we learn the 8th time even, or, you know, but yeah, I clearly remember having that Bratz baby doll. And you ask my mom, she'll never buy me one again. No, she refuses to buy me one. But
I'll buy you one later.
but yeah, I remember like it was just such a thing, the Bratz baby doll. I forgot what made me want to talk about it. I think because we were talking about cattiness in school playgrounds and stuff. Oh yeah,
just like that's just part of it, and that is part of it. You know, when you go through like, if I have this thing, I'll be cool in that circle, and they'll like I'll get to be on the inside of everything for once, and you know that's something that's a part of everyone's childhood and stuff. Like everyone can pinpoint like, oh, I remember when I did this, and you know, just so I can fit in, and I wanted to be with these kids and stuff. But I agree with you so much. Like at a point, it's not you realize more. It's not about trying like to fit in with like this particular group or crowd or do their thing. It's like it's so much better to get to do, you know, your own part, because it's fleeting. It really is fleeting. Like it doesn't, like you said, like you played with the dolls like once, and it was just that was deal. It was like, okay, see you later.
Yep.
Like there was. Because that's what it comes down to. Like, when there was nothing more than that for the basis of you guys hanging out. There wasn't like, oh, how are you? What are you doing? Like, what do you like to do? What do you like to play? Mm-hmm. No, it was like, you got the doll, all right, let's chill for an afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can hang with us in the sandbox, you know, for a half hour. Fun fact, I didn't know this until, you know how like there's memes and stuff of like, I was today years old when I learned this. Well, I was today years old when I learned that Reese's was mandatory breaks for teachers. Is that, are you today years old too?
I'm today years old. I'm shook.
Think about that. They need their 15, their 30.
Just quick sneak in a quick cigarette.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
It all makes sense.
And it's funny. It's funny because that grade, the Bratz baby doll, a lot of stuff happened in that grade where it's like, and it's one of the best grades and most traumatic grades of my life. But no, it's a part of our story and growth. Definitely. Definitely. No. I mean, I can't imagine like me being a parent and like having to tell your kids there's mean people out there. Like, be careful, or I don't know. It's like no one told me, and then I wouldn't even know where to start to tell another human being. It's like, prepare yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a scary part. Like, you think, like, you know, being a parent, you want to like prepare, not even prepare, but you'd want to like shelter your kids, and like you don't want them to go through harm or tough times. But like the truth is, like, there are assholes out there, and they're like mean people who are gonna push you around and stuff, and like sometimes it's gonna happen to your kid, and it's almost like you have to somehow get them ready and prep them. Like, there is gonna be a rough moment you're not gonna like. There's going to be this kid at school who's annoying, this teacher you can't stand, a boss you hate, and it's going to come up, and it's, you wish it would be different. And you can think from your experiences being a kid, it's like, man, I remember all those moments, but I think hopefully we all pulled something out of it and like learned how to, tackle things a little bit better. But it's rough. Like, being a parent's scary too. Like, having to figure out how to keep a human being alive and make them hopefully.
I can't even keep myself alive. I don't know how I'm alive right now. No, yeah, even teaching a whole nother being, about life. That's kind of, it's the crazy thing about it. Then looking back at this footage, like, just thinking about that. But no, excuse me. I remember, yeah, just even telling them like not to take things personal. Like, I remember that's the one thing that my mom had always told me. Don't ever take things personal. That's a piece of advice I'm going to give you. Someone had told me this 15, 20 years ago to not take things personal. Believe me, I would have like a whole different kind of view on things, And so that's like the one bit of information my mom has carried down to me. And I definitely do see that now. A lot of people don't know a lot about themselves. Like, I don't know much about myself, but I'm learning and open to learning. And if we could admit that, the first step in learning about yourself is admitting that you don't know anything. Like, most people don't know what.
Most people don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Exactly. We don't know shit about shit. Joe Budden. Socrates, has a similar quote to that, and that if you can admit that you don't know everything, boom, you open the doors to a whole universe of knowledge and wisdom. And that's what you get to like do some self-inventory and being like, okay, why? Usually when you get mad, a person gets mad, it's because you hit a fear of them, of within them, they're scared of something, and you hit at that. You learn about yourself during life experiences, and you just gain knowledge, and you share these tidbits. So it's like the next person coming along the way, or your son or daughter coming down the way, you just like, don't go through door number 1, go through door number 3.
I like to talk about something, Liz. So I think for our viewers at home, let's explain a little bit how this whole podcast came together. How it came together. Am I saying my words right? I'm tired.
Fucking hungover.
But let's explain for the audience at home and our listeners how this came to be.
So it basically started that we had to move on to more of an online platform for youth evangelization for Cana Youth Group, St. Francis. And they had asked me if I could do a short video, or like motivational kind of thing for the week, like a clip. And I was thinking, I mean, the weeks before, I think I did a paint with me thing, and I talked about relics, and I've been just trying to go against the grain too, kind of do something a little bit unique. And I had the thought, I'm like, I could do, I was even thinking about doing like a TikTok. Maybe that could be the one that I post eventually. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll make one if we're not too tired. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? No, like, I've been wanting to do a podcast. Let's do a podcast. Let's do it. And so I asked Xavier that, I think like it was a week from today, and I was like, Xavier, I want to do a podcast. Do you think you could help me out with, like, you know, putting something together to post on the Kana site? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, all right. And I know nothing about like how this shit works, and I still have to research it. But yeah, like, it was just out of a whim. It literally was like, I woke up and I was like, a podcast sounds a little bit different. I'm like, let's do that. How'd you see it?
I wasn't expecting, you know, I've always wanted to do a podcast because I love them, listen to them. They're my therapy. And I had wanted to do one, but I needed the equipment. Like, I had it beforehand, but it broke. So it was just kind of on hold, but I always wanted to do one. And then you had come up to me, I think we were during lunch, when I was on my lunch break or something. You said, let's do a podcast for the Kana video. I'm like,
6 p.m. the day we recorded it. And
I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I knew exactly how to do it, you know. I had all the software. I knew how to edit it and put it together. I had a vision for it very quickly already. So I'm like, okay, give me a minute while I'll scavenge everything together. And basically that day I had it all in place, and okay, let's sit here. We'll arrange it like this. Camera's ready. And let's go. And I thought it was I didn't know what to expect, because I thought it was going to be like, let's do a quick 5-minute thing, and it was a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, I talked to my brother like the next day, and I told him, I think Luz just kind of finessed me into making her a whole podcast series.
I did.
Because it was like,
I didn't mean to though.
Which I don't mind. I just say, because it was like, wait a minute.
This is the best way to do it. This is the best time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's at home. We have free time. Let's make it happen. But I'm all for it. I want to keep. Also, I was super serious about doing it too. Like, when Lucia's like, let's do it, I had everything ready.
It like came out together, because we had always kind of said, we're like, we need to get a podcast. You know, we'd have these like long conversations in the car, and then we're like, ooh, we gotta make something, man. And yeah, I was just like, that day I was like, hey, I kind of have this idea of doing one for the post. What do you say? And you're like, yeah, let's get it together. And so yeah, that same day we just got all the shit, and we're like, let's do it.
And now here we are, episode 2.
No prep, or like, it was literally, we didn't have anything. We were just like, let's.
There was I literally had like 4 hours to basically come up with how to set everything up. Like, okay, now I gotta grab the equipment. I gotta figure out how I'm going to distribute this thing, how we're going to edit it and all that stuff. And I really like, I'm not saying like I had a negative experience. I really love doing this stuff. Like, it's fun editing, sound engineering, and all. I have a lot of fun with this. So I completely enjoyed the whole experience of it. So
me, I got to learn the ropes more, get a little more tech savvy with it. And yeah, be open to just like a new experience and learn about it. That's what I got to do.
But I'm excited for what we're gonna, produce in the future, and more stuff coming. And we've got a pretty good response so far. So I think we're on a good path.
If you have any suggestions, any topics you want us to cover, let us know.
Yeah, but I'm excited.
Did you hear about the drive-in?
Yeah. Wait. Oh no. Today they played Selena.
They did?
They did.
Ooh, every little girl wants to be Selena. Every little girl. I'm telling you. Every Hispanic little girl wants to be Selena. Like, she really does. I remember, we all know that name, Yolanda Salazar, whatever it is. We all know that name.
She did it.
We cringe when we hear it. And, but no, we all wanted to be her. I remember when I first watched the movie, the washing machine, like that was a thing. Like her purple jumpsuit with the bell bottoms, like that was a thing too. I had some purple bell bottoms at one point. No, yeah, we all want to be her. And some strange reasons.
We still want to be her.
We still want to be her. But it's amazing how her memory still lives on. And Janet was telling me how the dad does not like Chris.
That man does not like him.
To this day.
I think I forget where I heard this or read it somewhere, but it was like literally like minutes or an hour after she died, the dad basically showed up to Chris and was like, sign everything away. Because legally, like, he had the rights to, like, her property, like, intellectual property, and dad's like, give it to me right now. Mm-hmm. And he was like, fine. And I think an effort to show, like, I don't care about this. I loved her. If this is what will make you see that, like, fine. I will sign everything away. I don't mind.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, to this day, he's like, I don't like him.
I don't like him.
He's like, ponytails are for girls. That's... He said that. He really did. Allegedly.
Fun fact out there: if you can say anything, and you can't get sued, so long as you say allegedly.
Allegedly. No, yeah.
You might want to fact check that before you use it, though. Allegedly.
What do you say? Wrap it up?
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in for another great video. Stay tuned for a whole lot more. All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye.